known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways, which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey, foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. Okay. The purpose of this evening's hearing is to consider the applications listed on the agenda requesting a consent or minor variance to the township's zoning bylaw. The input we receive from agencies, the public, and staff is important to ensure the committee makes well-informed planning decisions. For each application listed on today's agenda, the hearing procedure will be as follows. Staff will provide a brief explanation of the application. The applicant or their agent will be asked to provide any comments. Comments from members of the public will be heard or read aloud by the Secretary-Treasurer. Following all submissions, the committee will consider all comments and agenda materials when making a decision on an application. Should you wish to be notified of the decision, you must file a written request with the Secretary-Treasurer. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. The next item of business is item 2.1, adoption of the agenda. The recommendation reads that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment hearing held on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Julius and Horace, thank you. All those in favor, motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any disclosures of interest? No. Thank you. The adoption of the minutes. The minutes for the Committee of Adjustment meeting November 19th, 2025 to be adopted as presented. Do I have any comments on the minutes? Do I have a mover and a seconder for adoption? Horace, thank you. And I need a hand up. Thank you, Ron. All those in favor? Thank you. Submissions to be heard. Submission item 5.1 is A-2325, the property at 21 Woodland Height Drive, Adjala-Tosorontio. Would staff like to provide a brief explanation of that application for us, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicants are proposing to convert the existing two-car single-story detached garage with 305.7 square feet addition at the west end into an accessory dwelling unit with a total gross floor area of 1,045 square feet. The unit would include one bedroom, a kitchen, dining area, living room, bathroom, and utility room and sunroom, and would be serviced by the existing drilled well and a proposed smaller septic system. The proposal complies with lot size, frontage, setbacks, ground coverage, and building height requirements. The variance relates solely to the location of the accessory dwelling unit, permitting it within a detached accessory structure rather than within the principal dwelling. Thank you.
Would the applicant or agent like to provide any comments regarding the application?
Sorry, I'm Marie LaRue. I'm a land use planner with Mountain Ridge Custom Homes, and we are here tonight on behalf of Anthony and Lori Pateas, who own the property. And I have Lori here with me as well tonight. So the owners would like to convert the existing detached two-car garage with an addition as an accessory dwelling unit for their own principal residence. And then the existing dwelling would then accommodate their son, his wife, and the two children. The minor variance is required, as mentioned by staff, because right now the zoning allows for the accessory dwelling unit to be within the dwelling. However, the owners have the existing two-car garage, and it's more suitable for them to convert it to be the accessory dwelling unit for their principal residence. And so therefore, they need the minor variance to allow it to be in a detached building. The subject property and surrounding lots are large treed estate lots. The subject lot is 2 acres in size and has an existing 3-bedroom dwelling with an attached garage. And then there is the existing 2-car detached garage. And as mentioned, it is serviced by a private well and private septic system. The proposed detached accessory dwelling unit is 110 feet in from the front lot line, so it's well set in and not seen hardly even from any surrounding property owners. It will be serviced from the existing well, and as mentioned, there will be a proposed smaller new septic system in front of the unit, and there is ample parking on site for both dwelling units. In our planning letter, we had outlined how the proposed accessory dwelling is permitted and complies with all the zoning bylaw, except for that it's not in the principal dwelling unit. And in my professional opinion, the proposed variance will meet the 4 tests for the minor variance, as the variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, as the accessory dwelling unit is a permitted use. There is no potential offsite impacts to the surrounding properties. The neighbors to the north have provided an email to the township in support of the variance. The property is sufficient in size to accommodate the additional dwelling unit and its services. The variance is appropriate and desirable to help provide needed housing that is in demand, and it would allow for the owners to accommodate their family members in their existing home. We, on behalf of the owners, are requesting the committee members to look favorably on their request. And thank you for allowing us to make a presentation. I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you have any. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have received 1 written submission. The property owners of 19 Woodland Heights Drive, Mr. Tony Curo and Ms. Yuan Siu, have provided correspondence expressing their support for the minor variance application. They have indicated that they have no objection to the proposed conversion of detached garage into an accessory dwelling unit and have expressly stated their support for the application. Thank you.
Matter of the application of Anthony and Lori Patasius as owners of this aforesaid land for minor variance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to permit a detached accessory dwelling unit, whereas Section 17.3 of Zoning Bylaw 03-57 only permits accessory dwelling units within the principal dwelling B. And can I have a mover and a seconder, please, for those in favor of the application? Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion is carried. Thank you. Merry Christmas as well. Happy New Year. All right, next item 5.2, A-24-25, the property at 2100 Concession Road 5, Adjala. The Secretary Treasurer, would you please provide an explanation of the application for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicant proposes a new 4,600 square feet agricultural structure for farm equipment storage within the front yard of the existing dwelling. The rear of the dwelling is constrained by significant woodland, making siting behind the dwelling infeasible. The chosen location is within an already disturbed barnyard area as confirmed by the scoped natural heritage evaluation and avoids impacts to sensitive features. No negative impacts to natural heritage features, ecological functions, or community character have been identified. Thank you.
thank you. Do we have any additional comments from the applicant or agent on this application? Thank you. Are there any members of the public present that would like to make a statement? No, thank you. Do we have any written comments?
No comments received.
Thank you. And lastly, are there any questions from members of the committee? No? So we will now move on to a decision for application A-24-25. Prior to conducting the vote, I will read the decision for the committee's consideration. In the matter of subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and in the matter of concession 4, East Part Lot 9 in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Amanda and Derek Smethurst as owners of the aforesaid land for minor variance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to permit the construction of an agricultural structure in the front yard of the existing dwelling, whereas Section 3.36 of Zoning Bylaw 03-56, amended by Bylaw 20-31, requires agricultural structures to be located either a minimum of 100 meters from the front lot line or behind the dwelling, whichever is more restricted. And can I have a mover and a seconder for approval, please? Julius and Ron, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas. All right, item 5.3, B-13-25, the property at 32 Fisher Drive in Everett, Adjala-Tosorontio. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The consent application proposes the creation of one new residential lot within the designated settlement area of Everett, located in the established residential neighborhood. The proposed severed parcel would have an approximately 0.3 hectares and a frontage of 30.7 meters, which is consistent with the existing lot pattern in the area and exceeds the minimum requirements of the zoning bylaw. With respect to environmental matters, trees are located along the proposed severed boundary. However, they form part of old hedgerow and are not identified as any significant natural feature under township's official plan, under township or county, as in or even under NVCA or under county's Greenland designation. Accordingly, no environmental impact study was required. And there are few additional items that was not fully detailed in the staff report, and staff would like to highlight it for the committee and public and the applicant. Staff received comments from RMO, who advised that there are no source protection plan policies that restrict or prohibit the proposed severance, provided the end use remain residential. The septic system will be subject to routine inspection every 5 years, which is consistent with the Ontario Building Code requirements, so no concerns were identified by RMO. A previous consent agreement applied to this property and adjacent lands to the west. However, it does not restrict further severances, does not identify or protect any natural feature, and does not conflict with the current proposal. Staff also note that there is an approximately 1 foot wide reserve along the frontage of the proposed severed lot that is owned by township. While the report does not specifically reference to the frontage reserve, the matter is already addressed through the entrance permit condition. In order to satisfy that condition, the applicant would be required to obtain an entrance permit, which in turn would require a request to council to lift the reserve. No additional or separate condition for that purpose is required. The reserves have been lifted historically for the driveway access purposes for the neighboring properties as well. And the next application, the next consent application, which is also related to this application, is for the creation of an easement over the severed lot to accommodate an existing underground hydro service connection to the retained parcel. Portions of the area above the connection are already cleared, and the easement will ensure continued and uninterrupted utility servicing. Thank you.
The applicant or agent like to provide any comments?
Good evening. I have a brief presentation if that's okay to share.
Yes, if you'd like to go ahead, please.
Good evening. My name is Bill Mahmood. I'm a planner at Powell Planning and Associates. I'll be presenting the presentation for the consent applications for 32 Fisher Drive. So I'll provide a brief introduction. I'll go through the site location description, the proposal, the brief policy analysis, department and agency comments, and the conclusion. So we are seeking planning approval to create one new residential lot, as well as a utility easement requiring consent applications. And in this presentation, I will highlight how the proposal aligns with planning legislation and provincial municipal policies. The site is designated as residential and zone hamlet residential. The lot area is approximately 1.5 hectares. There is an existing single detached dwelling and detached garage on the site, with tree coverage on the front of the property. The surrounding uses include agricultural to the north and residential to the south, east, and west. The proposal to sever the lands to create one new residential lot and a hydro utility easement on the severed lands in order to service the retained lands require consent applications. And the lots being proposed meet the zoning standards. And although there is generous tree coverage on the site, there is an ability to still keep a generous tree canopy on the site while allowing for suitable building development and a land use that is supported by provincial and local policy. I'll go through a brief policy analysis. So the proposal aligns with Section 2 of the Planning Act, as the proposal facilitates the logical and effective division of land that is consistent with the surrounding residential uses and lot configuration. It also aligns with the provincial planning statement promoting effective and sustainable residential intensification by effectively using existing infrastructures that can accommodate growth. And the lands are designated settlements in the Simcoe County official plan and aligns with these policies as it seeks to provide additional residential opportunities in a settlement area where growth is meant to occur. And the proposal aligns with the residential policies in the township's official plan. It makes better use of an existing underutilized lot and facilitates appropriately scaled residential development that is compatible with the surrounding built form. The land is zoned hamlet residential in the township zoning bylaw 03-57, and the proposal conforms to the provision of the zoning bylaw and no relief is required. Department and agency comments, there's no objections from the NVCA building department, and there's no comments that were received from Public Works, Planning Department, and the public. And so a careful analysis concludes that the applications have regard for matters of provincial interest, are consistent with the provincial planning statement, are consistent with the Simcoe County official plan. They conform to the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio official plan, as well as the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio zoning bylaw 03-57, and they represent good planning in accordance with the best interest of the public. And we're happy to address any questions.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Yes.
Thank you, through the chair, whether it's through Kartik or the planners. Would there be any stipulation on where a driveway would have to go? Would it have to go to the south, or could it go to the south or to the east if a severance was allowed?
Through Madam Chair, that would be a Public Works question, and it could go on either side depending upon Public Works go there, and it definitely not be on the curve, and it should be on appropriate distance from the corner and the curve. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about the easement. This is underground utility service?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So, yeah, and is that the normal thing when when there's a lot that is not going to be accessible, right? This is what the issue is going to be. If they were to sever that without the easement, they no longer have electricity. Is that right?
Yes, Madam Chair. They would. This easement is to maintain the Hydro One utilities access, to maintain that line and to maintain the access from that line.
And is there any, if it's underground, then if anything happens to the line, there's obviously it's got to be accessible for a repair or whatever. So and do we have very many of these things, this kind of easement through different properties? Or can you foresee that it would cause an issue? Sorry, Greg.
Through you, Chair.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that we have a lot of these. It's a unique situation in the sense that the hydro could have come in where the driveway is to the property.
Yes.
It just happens that it's coming in through, the southern part of the property. So we typically don't run into a lot of utility easement conflicts of any way. But I would say that the area of the easement is really undevelopable. You can't put buildings or structures on it. So the development envelope will be outside of the easement. So that in the future, if there is a maintenance requirement on the hydro line, that the utility can get in and do that maintenance.
It continues to be accessible.
Yes.
So in that case, looking at the sketch or the photograph showing the lot here, the easement is towards the west side. So the house will have to be towards the east on that property. You're saying for topographic reasons or other?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I wouldn't say maybe necessarily for topographic reasons, just more so to ensure that the development envelope is outside of the easement, which you noted was to the west.
So that would be a requirement then?
Yeah, that the septic and building are located outside of the easement to the east.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions or do we have statements from the public?
We have received one written comment.
All right, we'll do the written comment first, please, and then we'll come. Thank you.
We have received one written comment from Mr. McKnight of 27 Fisher Drive today only. And I will read his comment as submitted. My wife and I purchased our property 10 years ago, and I have loved it, as well as the area since that first day. Carl had purchased the property pertaining to the above application not long afterwards, and have been very respectful neighbors, including the building and the severing of the property, the tasteful homes and neighbors that have moved in, but most importantly, the landscaping. I have grown to love the trees, and I'm able to look out and see from my property as well as the wildlife that comes and goes. I ask that the proposed residence across from mine continues in the same fashion as the rest of the homes that have been built in Carl and Diane's property, in the way that it is not an oversized eyesore, and as many trees and foliage remain in place or is planted afterwards, in order to maintain the pleasant view and habitat as possible, and that trees and residence is tucked into the trees and foliage as much as possible. I appreciate the reason why Carl have to build in that location, so please take my comment and what I want into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have anyone here? Yes, ma'am. State your name for us, please.
My name is Elizabeth Pato. I live at 31 Fisher Drive, and I'm actually here representing myself and 3 of my other neighbors. My neighbor Margaret Bosch is with me, but the other 2 neighbors, Paula Kowalchuk and Ralph and Candace Gallagher, couldn't make it tonight. So we do have some concerns about the treed lot. I mean, not only do we enjoy the privacy and the animals that we get from it, but there's also some safety concerns. So the way the lot, I have some appendices that I printed out, but the way that the lot is positioned, it is parallel to the road, whereas all the other lots on the street are perpendicular. As you can see, it's there at the S curve of the road, and Stanley H. Bailey Park is kitty cornered to it. So at Stanley H. Bailey Park, it's a baseball diamond that children from the ages of around 4, they're just little minor league to young teens, they come to play baseball. They learn to play, they have their regular games and tournaments several times a week. And every single weekend during the spring and summer months, the diamond is in use, and 20+ cars are parked all along the lot in question, all the way up to Mr. Snur's driveway, all down the other side, which is that gentleman, Mr. McKnight, and in front of our homes. So there's a lot of cars and they're all parked very tightly, making the road very narrow. And so getting across that S curve is actually very dangerous. And, you know, with reduced visibility and all. So we're asking if it's possible to maybe next spring to have a traffic study done during the baseball, while the baseball games are going on, to show how dangerous it is there and how another driveway that's going to be on that east side is going to add to that potential danger and how tight it is. Our other comment is also that, so yes, I've mentioned the danger with that S there. So before the development, and that includes Mr. Schnur's house and the other 2 lots that were put in the last few years, we had a very large number of wildlife, very many different varieties of birds, including owls, birds of prey. We had bats, squirrels, small rodents, possums, raccoons, groundhogs, fox, wild turkeys, coyotes, frogs, and turtles were all seen in amongst what we called our little forest. Since the development of those 3 new homes, there has been considerable decrease in the number and variety of animals that we now see on the street. We do have 2 endangered species there, which is the little brown bat and the red-headed woodpecker. They're seen regularly in our area. So our concern is if a lot of these trees are going to be cut down, it's going to further affect and impact the animals that we have, including the endangered species. So, I mean, all I can ask is that, you know, if this is granted, that only the trees that really need to come down to build that home and the septic and the driveway is all that comes down, and the rest of the trees stay up. Also to make sure that the new driveway is within the you know, the safety that it needs to be from that S in the road, because it really is very poor visibility there. I think that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comments. I think the driveway, we've been told that they will get a permit from the township and they will be instructed actually where they can put the driveway. So if it becomes a concern that 90 feet or 30 meters there on that S-curve side is not enough and it's too close to the curve, then they will require it to be on the south side somewhere. So I think that we can, at the time when they will look after that. As for the trees and the endangered species, we have heard actually that there weren't. Yeah. Hey, Kartik, would you?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That vegetation is not being recognized by NVCA or under county or under our natural heritage schedule, and it's never been recognized. Our natural heritage schedule is 20 years old. It was not recognized at that time or not even currently.
Yeah, it's a planted forest originally, and it's not native trees. I don't know if we can say anything about the amount of tree cover. I would very much doubt that somebody would try to clear cut that whole lot. Greg, is there anything that I don't know if the committee has the mandate to say anything about the trees?
No, there is really no planning mechanism tool that we can apply to sort of, you know, require the retention of, you know, a certain amount of trees. I think through the building permit application process, we can certainly work with the applicant on their building design and encourage the retention of as much vegetation and tree cover as possible, but that would be sort of the extent of our powers in that regard.
But that would include where the house was sited, where the septic will be, and the driveway. So there are some rules on those. Yeah, Horace?
So through the chair,
Yeah.
maybe it's too early, but do we have any insight on the future building proposal at all that could probably minimize or ease some of the concerns?
No, there's
There's nothing
it's
yet.
not for sale yet, I guess, so there's
But
nothing,
there's no plans, no
nothing yet.
building drawing, nothing set.
Yes,
That's it. Okay.
Ron?
Through the chair, I can't foresee a problem with the laneway because I don't know if the lady, her driveway is the first house west of Bailey Park, because there is a driveway right there. Yes, so if they put a driveway right across the road from you, I can't see why it would be a problem with the with servicing the lot that way, because it's the same distance as yours is from the corner. So,
Yeah, unless he's already spoken with the people responsible, then he doesn't know where they're going to tell them that it's going to go. That's what, oh, sorry, Mr. Schnorr? Yeah. Yeah, that's, there's no certainty right now, and they will not put it in a place that's not safe.
and supplement to that, I think it's a township issue because I'm very familiar with this ballpark because my children and my grandchildren play baseball there. So I think it's going to have to be something brought forward to the township that there needs to be off-road parking because that is very congested on Saturdays and when there are ball games. So, I mean, the parking and the driveway I don't see as an issue. And according to this map or drawing I have here, it doesn't show them clear cutting forestry. So, anyways.
All right, do we have any other comments, questions? Anyone, anything to add? All right. Here we are. We'll now move on to a decision for application B-13-25. In the matter of section 53 of the Planning Act and in the matter of Tosorontio concession for part lot 11, RP 51R39488, part 3 in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of Carl Schnur as owner of the aforesaid land for consent severance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to create one new 0.3 hectare hamlet residential lot fronting onto Drive B. And do I have a mover and seconder for approval of this? Ron, Horace, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion is carried. Thank you. Now, do we vote separately on the easement? Okay, thank you. So property it's B-15-25, property 32 Fisher Drive, Everett, Adjala-Tosorontio, to create an easement over the lot created through B-13-25 in order to accommodate the existing hydro service connection and ensure continued utility servicing to the retained parcel. And I think we've gone through all of that, so we don't have any other questions on the easement. So we'll now move on to a decision for application B-15-25. Prior to conducting the vote, I will read the decision for committee consideration. In the matter of section 53 of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Tosorontio concession 4, part lot 11, RP 51R39488, part 3, in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of Carl Schnur as owner of the aforesaid land for consent severance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to create an easement over the lot created through B 1325 in order to accommodate the existing hydro service connection and ensure continued utility servicing to the retained parcel B. And can I have a mover and seconder for approval? Julius, Horace, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Carried. Thank you. Do we have any new?
No,
Oh, nothing carried forward? No new business?
nothing.
All right, thank you. I now declare this meeting adjourned at 6:35 p.m. Thank you very much.